Well, hello again. It's Patty, and it's Monday, June 24th, 2019. I've released the video I did on the 19th of June, and I've shared it with a number of people who I trust, and I put it on my Big Wild Soul Medicine Facebook page, and I've gotten one comment on my YouTube channel. I did a little updating on my YouTube channel, and I included some Big Wild Soul Medicine free, and that's what I opened with, was an offering. And here I am with my next entry, and in my intro I say with Patty Lindgren and friends, and I want to talk about my friends a bit, because what I mean by that, I do hope that someday in the not too distant future, we've actually got a broadcast going, and there's a group of us working on it, and we can, maybe some of us are good hosts and some of us are good topic presenters, and we work together to create a broadcast that comes from the big wild soul. But also, too, because Francis, I've got so many helpers. I mentioned in my introduction to that first video on the type part on YouTube that I talk to the spirits of plants and other passers-by. So I'm always in a conversation with the voices here in the realm that can't be seen. And, many of us are, more and more of us every day are remembering this kind of connection to this beautiful world that we live in, that's always been here and always will be, and that's underneath all the shenanigans. And then there's also the people in my life, and everybody always influences me all the time, and everybody's got their own particular item that excites me or riles me or amuses me or propels me, and then I'm kind of a lone wolf, and so I'm never all that good as I need to be in having a support circle around me. So the support circle being the kind of circle where they love you no matter what, right? The kind of support circles we had when we were children that aren't nearly so common in this mess that we're in, right? In the high energy, nerves jangled, thrive or die kind of scary environment that's been painted and stimulated and pushed and ingrained in all of us. So, of course, there's Rick, who's like, living with a woman like me is not easy, let me tell you. I know that. I live here too. In order to be able to do what I'm doing right now, I had to bear witness to a lot of absolutely horrible, 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 horrible things, to wipe my illusions clean about what kind of world this is, and learn how to heal myself from that, what I learned, and and then be able to come back and be of some assistance to actually help others across the way. So today I want to talk about vision and the genius and uncorking the bottle that our particular genie is in. And in my first video, I referred to original medicine. So Genie, same thing. There's a genius in every one of us. A genie. There's something we do that is so easy that it's magic. abracadabra, so to speak. And so how do we uncork the genie? And the reason I want to start with this one is because the light is so bright right now. We're right at the tipping over of spring to summer. Yeah, that's the way we say, but it's really not true. We actually crested summer. If you feel it with your body, you'll know that this was not the beginning of summer we just had, but the cresting of summer. And solstices and equinoxes are the crest, the full moon of a season, not the beginning or the end of it. So, so the light is really, really bright right now. And in order for us to remember the vision that we came in with, we really need to clear our heads. We need to use that light to clear our heads and remember our connection to the realm that we came from, where the information was before we arrived. Now, one of my teachers, Randy Thomas Jones, see, here's Patty Lindgren and friends, so you're getting the benefit of all these people who have really good medicine to share because I'm telling stories and things. So Randy Thomas Jones taught me a lot about the genie. He is a grief ritual choreographer. He's written a book called Medicine Without an Expiry Date, Indigenous Remedy for Modern Trouble. And then in the corner of the cover, he says it's a barefoot shaman's manual. So what is a shaman? Shamans come from every culture. A shaman is most definitely a genie, an original medicine. A shaman is in tune with nature and the other realms. And it's the most natural thing in the world. And shamans have a purpose of holding the space here, of tending to those bridges between this world that is material, this earth under my feet, and the wind in my hair, and the house I see in front of me, and my piece of art on the back of it, and all that jazz, my neighbors, and the roads, and everything else. So shamans are a bridge between the two worlds, and it's not a cultural thing in the context of only certain cultures have shamans. It's a cultural thing in the context of every healthy, natural, earth-based culture needs its shamans. Shamans hold the frequency. Shamans transmute and help with healing and with magic. This is a magical realm. We can manifest whatever world we want to manifest. I know, so much easier said than done, hey? Bloody hell. Because we're transmuting this old paradigm that's a controlled colonial thinking paradigm into a natural paradigm. And so what a natural paradigm values, colonial paradigm rebukes, smothers, defunds, tries to make life as difficult as possible, because when the natural intelligence comes back and is sung loud enough and danced hard enough and wailed and roared and imagined some more, there is your power to create the new world. So if you're being you, well, your impulse to compete goes away. And competition is the way of the colony. There isn't enough. We live in scarcity. We're all disconnected from each other. We must compete. Competition cuts our abundance off. So if we stop competing and we start cooperating and we stop taking and we start giving, we flip the switch. So it's easy, and if we're in our genius, then we're bringing exactly whatever it is that we're supposed to bring. And we shouldn't be comparing ourselves to each other. Everybody's got a message. We're all in our own timing. Some of us are very senior citizens, and maybe we've been awake our whole lives, or maybe we've been asleep our whole lives. Who knows? But the voice that comes, the genuine voice, the best that person's got, is as valuable as any other genuine voice. And so there is the village, the power of the village. When you've got all of the imagery painted, the picture is painted by all of the voices, and nobody's competing and everybody's working together on the side of life, then there are no winners and there are no losers. There is just synergy and coherence. So, Genie, what are the things that I learned from Randy? Oh, sorry, I'm walking around and I just walked into a room with the radio on, so I'll turn around, do a U-turn, go back out. So, can you imagine what our world would be like if we all followed a ritual like this one that Randy taught me from Africa, which is probably repeated in cultures, original cultures all around the world in very, very similar fashion, just with differences from where on earth it came forward, because what will come forward out of Greenland will be different than what comes out of Peru. They'll be based in the same natural law or lore. That's what George, what's his name? George K. Cassavellus? That didn't sound very good. Cassavellus? He says it's natural lore. But anyway, that's probably a sideline. So, where was I? Okay, so in Africa, a baby's coming. And the elders know the baby's coming, not just because the mother is pregnant, but because they're having a conversation with the baby. At some point in the pregnancy, a ritual is called and preparations are made, and the elders sit with the mother and the family, and they call in and ask the spirit of the incoming child why they're coming. And they get an answer, and with that answer then they go into consult. And together they come up with a name for the child, and the name encapsulates the child's reason for being there. Sometimes they also, a song is pulled through at that time, and they get the song of the child to come through the mother. The mother speaks for the child. She's the voice for the child, but she's listening to the child within her and expressing what she feels happening in her body. Messages from the child in words to the elders of the village. So a song will also come through as well. So the combination of the baby having been welcomed and the elders have said to the baby while the baby was still on the other side of the veil, "We know you're coming. Welcome, and please tell us why, so that we can be of service to you when you arrive." And the baby comes through. And the elders consult, and they get the song. And then when the baby arrives, the whole village sings the baby's song in welcome. And the whole village knows what the baby's purpose is, and the elders really know what the baby's purpose is. And that child is then nurtured by the village. That's every child. is nurtured by the village in that way, through the biological rites of passage that we all go through as human beings with souls and spirits on this earth walk. So, I hope everybody gets that opportunity to have something, some kind of rite of passage, or combination of rites of passage combined that recreates that one, that so very important beginning one that's been missing, and all the ones that were to come after that when we moved into puberty, when we moved into adulthood, into marriage, into parenthood, and the one I'm in right now, the one into eldership. So, what can be done right now to feel, if you don't already, more comfortable in your own skin and with who you are. So, go out every morning barefoot if you can and greet the sun, touch the earth, say thank you for the day, connect with Creator, connect with Mother Earth, connect with your higher self, with your reason, and ask for guidance. Minerals help remembering. So I like bones and antlers because they've got the crystals in them, and so those crystals are also in my bones. But you can also just hold crystals and rocks and, find what works for you. And then Angeles Arian's fourfold way. It's the way of the visionary, the human resources vision. And the way of the visionary is to speak truth without blame or judgment. So this is the way that we claim our own voices. And if it sounds real hard, don't worry about that, because that's totally understandable. Where we've been, where we're at. The blame and the judgment is the grief that has piled up and not been honored and released. Makes us feel like a victim because, we get betrayed and assaulted, and, this is a predatory paradigm, so you name it, it's happening boom, boom, boom all the time. And yeah, you can get to a place where you can, feel that and not take it personally, but that's not easy, especially if you're an empath and you feel everything. You don't just witness it with your eyes and your ears, everything. You get it gut, line, and sinker, Speak your truth without blame or judgment. She breaks the vision down into 4 subcategories. One is perception. So if you're speaking your truth, remember, this is how you perceive it. It doesn't mean that's the way it is. It doesn't mean that's the way you'll perceive it next week or even 5 minutes from now. But right now, when you speak of your perceptions. I think I believe that. So, because beliefs are colonial, a lot of our beliefs are not coming up naturally through natural thinking. They're being embedded in us through colonial thinking. So they're not really our beliefs. I mean, we are believing in them, but they didn't begin with us. They were part of the infiltration of our consciousness. So perception, intuition. So that's sensing that which is outside of you. and getting a gut sense of where to go with it, where to go, what to bring to you, or what you should, what to walk toward. Insight. This is when you go, oh, I get it, right? Oh, okay, yeah, now I know what that means. Ooh, so was like when I turned 39 and I realized that saying, I'd rather be 40 than pregnant, had never really made sense to me until I was 39. And I was like, I get it. Insight. That's when you can feel it in yourself. And it's part of you, and it's like, yes, that's true. And then the fourth one is vision itself. You could also carefully apply the term imagination. So vision, but I say carefully apply the term imagination because in a way that sounds like make-believe. What I mean by imagination is the ability to make pictures with the data that you're receiving. But vision goes deeper than that, and vision is that you're really bringing through something very, very deep and rooted in the plane. You can see patterns, you can see energy, you can draw energy, you can do a whole bunch of things that are way beyond what this paradigm teaches you, are part of your actual human capacity. Now, some of us are stronger than others, and we're all waking up in this regard, and some of us work with vision well, and some of us are using our vision and giving it over to the colonial think rather than putting it on the side of our children. And so the genie in the bottle can be let out and used for the wrong purposes as well. So we always want to be checking ourselves and checking in with elders and with healers and sacred leaders in the community when we're not sure about what would be the right use of our power. Ultimately, we're looking to both be in and be responsible for a healthy co-creative container that values the human being and the human being's capacity to create generatively and colorfully and with joy and gusto for the good of life. All right, well, what have I done? I realized when I fell out of the system 11 years ago that I was bored silly. Always bored silly. And I was bored. I was bored in a small room of limited thinking. And it took me several years of ruminating in it to realize that it was fatal and that I couldn't stay there. And I got really angry in that period of time while I was not knowing what to do and learning it was fatal. It is fatal because there's a lot of people now who you can ask who are completely dispirited, and hopefully we're past the point where you think a person who's dispirited in this world is broken. They're not. That's why they're dispirited. They're not broken. They have something. They are one of the shamans being born for this time, and they haven't been recognized, and they're languishing in their grief because they can feel so much and they don't have the support or the teachers they need to deal with it. So this is part of the suffering creates the remedies, right? So you can only suffer for so long before you say enough. So, and I remember thinking then when I fell out and I was so bored that the largest wasted natural resource on planet Earth was human creativity. And man, you know, I was kind of saying it on gut instinct. It was a little bit flip and self-serving, but holy man, was I right. I was way more right than I had any idea. The biggest wasted human resource, or the natural resource, the biggest wasted natural resource is human creativity. If we reconnect with each other in the natural world and the reason that we came, if we can find a solid group of people to walk that journey of remembering with us, then we can recreate the world one little soul pod at a time. And then, as my friend Esther has envisioned several times, often, is the murmuration. So the flock of birds where each one just follows the ones next to it, right? And everybody works in harmony. And there's just, you know, there's no duress. We're not damaging anything by each being ourselves and co-creating naturally, because that's what an economy is. And the presence of money is what stifles a living economy made from the resource, the exceptionally abundant resource of human creativity, set free from tyrants holding the gates on the death-centric colonial think. Okay, that's what I've got. Uncork the genie, baby. Uncork your genie. And if you want some good astrology help, some proper evolutionary astrology help, one of my faves is Kaypacha Lesher. Okay, that's it for this episode of Patty Lindgren and Friends. Uncork the bottle of your genie. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.